Hello, you are listening to the Childcare Director's Chair podcast. Your host, Erica Sacosio, invites you to join her community of passionate and inspiring leaders in the ECE field, where she discusses, reflects, and shares the best ways to invest in our children, families, teachers, and community. Because after all, we know they are the heartbeat of any successful program.
When I'm thinking about my own balance and my own sanity, I try to do the things in an order that makes sense for me. And it may not make sense for everybody, but I try to be communicative about, this is what I need from you. Tell me how I can help you. You tell me what you need from me. And it seemed to work pretty good for the last 20 some odd years. So, that's the best advice I have around that. Hey guys, Erica Sacosio here with another episode of the Childcare Director's Chair podcast. I am so excited. It's Wednesday. We have a guest today. We have actually tried to connect a few times. She is also a fellow podcaster and loves ECE as much as me. So I'm very excited to have her here today. But before we hop into that, I'd just like to say, like I always do, thank you so much to all of our listeners. You guys really, truly just warm my heart. We're hitting almost a year. I think we've got 2 more weeks and we're going to hit our 1-year anniversary. And you guys just continue to show up for me literally every day. So I'm very grateful for that. So today we're going to talk about understanding resiliency in early childhood professionals' life. And it's, something that's really important. We know burnout is real. We know stress is real. And we know the last 4 years have been really real. So we're going to talk about how you can take care of yourself and your team and make sure that we are bouncing back to come back as strong educators, after the pandemic, So welcome to our show. I have, I want to say it right, Marcia? Yes. Marcia, tell folks a little bit about yourself and a little bit about your podcast.
Well, I am super, super happy to be here and thank you. And yes, congratulations on being so close to that 1-year anniversary. That's super, super exciting. I'm Marcia Nicole. I am the CEO and founder of Ispy to Educate. My podcast is called The Inspiring ECE, where we want to motivate and inspire ECEs to be the best versions of themselves, both professionally and personally. And I talk all about how to do that regularly and making sure you're checking in on yourself and taking care of you so you can show up for those children in your programs.
Yeah, that sounds good. Let's talk about that today. I think, to just naturally, most folks, I'm not going to generalize, I'm just going by facts. Most folks in the ECE field are women. And statistically, women have a hard time or feel bad about when it's time to take care of ourselves, because we're typically not only just at work, but even on the home front, we're typically pouring into others. And it's almost like a badge of honor to wear yourself into the ground in this field, right? First one in, last one to leave, hustle, grind, all those things, girl, boss, da-da-da, right? All very valid, for sure. All very valid. And we feel those things too. But at the same time, at what cost? So, let's talk about why we need to prioritize self-care without feeling guilty or overwhelmed.
If we do not prioritize and set boundaries, we are going to hit that burnout threshold really quickly. And for educators, like you said, we tend to put on a million things on our plate all the time. But we also think that we can do all the things. So delegating some of those tasks. And educators, please start saying no. It is okay to say no. We have this thing where, no, we can't say no. Yes, you can. You can only take so much on your plate. You can only do so much. So saying no is setting those boundaries. And we're building resilience. So maybe you give yourself a time frame. I'm going to say no once a week for the first, until you're comfortable with it, because it's all about your comfortability, right? And once a week turns into, no, I need to do this twice a week because I'm still feeling that overwhelm, still feeling that edge of burnout. Then you're going to up it a little bit. Maybe we're going to do it 3 times a week, right? Until you start to realize that people around you are going to realize she's got boundaries put up. And you stop feeling that guilt for saying, unfortunately, right now, that's just not something that fits in my schedule.
Yeah.
Educators also need the words. It's okay to say something about, this just doesn't fit in my schedule right now. Or unfortunately, I can't take on a new task right now. Right?
Yeah.
Helps you build that resilience.
Yeah. I think that makes me think about not only the word no, but the word yes. So being very strategic in saying yes to the things that you really enjoy doing, right? Because that also can pour into, right? Like I really love community service and I really love like designing classrooms. Those would be things that I would do for free. Those would be things I would do on the weekend because I love to do them. So when you're saying no to the things because they don't fit in your schedule or you're feeling you can't take on anymore, think about the flip side of that too, of when you say yes, is it something that feeds your soul? Is it something that you're excited about, right? Because I think that too, that nice little balance can really help with that. And then saying yes to yourself, because we say no to ourselves a lot. Like, no, we don't got money for, no, go get your nails done. If that meant, I'm just saying, right? I know that seems so far away from the world of education, but really, again, just because when you look good, you feel good, right? So saying yes to, you know what, I'm gonna go in a half hour later so I can go for that walk. Or right. So I think saying yes to yourself too. Things that you love, and then also saying yes to yourself.
And carving out time to do the things that you love to do. We jam pack our schedules with down to the nitty gritty. I always tell educators, try to time box. And when you are time boxing or when you are carving out time, is there time for you? Yes, you're going to have time for your family and other things and everything else going on in whatever schedules. But did you make that a nail appointment? Did you make that time to go? Did you say, I'm going to sit down today and I'm going to read a chapter of this book because I've been holding it on my shelf for a month?
Yes. Tell them all the things. So yes, that's 100% true. And then as you're making these like to-do lists, make sure you're on the to-do list, right? One of the things that I love doing, and it's fairly new, just since January, I do a morning gratitude. For those that listen to me all the time, I do a morning gratitude meditation. And at the end of the day, I also wrap my day with evening, grateful meditation. What went well today? Because the other thing that we tend to do is, like, if something didn't go well, we're not sleeping good because that thing we're dealing with, like, oh, what's that going to look like tomorrow? Susie's mom's mad about the lost sock, right? So being able to wrap your day, beginning being grateful for, and the end of the day being grateful for the things that went right. It's so funny. The other day, I said to my husband, he thought I was absolutely like, what are you talking about? And we're polar opposites. But the other day, I said, well, I'm off to work. Another 14-hour day. And he goes, oh, have fun with that. And I said, you know what? I said, I'm actually grateful for that 14-hour day because there are centers that didn't make it through the pandemic. There are centers right now with childcare owners who would love to go work a 14-hour day. So I'm not going to complain about that. And of course, not every day is 14 hours. That day just happened to be a little bit longer because I had some meetings after work. But I was like, I should be grateful to still have a business that I can go unlock the door. Right. So I think that too, just being grateful for the things that we have and taking the time to acknowledge that, I think also helps with your mindset and how you're feeling. Right?
That's the next thing I wanted to say.
Oh, sorry.
It's perfect. It was perfect said.
Perfect.
We're talking about your mindset, and I love that you journal or do how you express gratitude. And educators find out how to express gratitude. For me, I try journaling. I'm not a person that likes to write, but do I like to talk? Absolutely. I have a voice journal. I get it all out in the morning and I voice it out. I'm grateful for this, that. And at the end of the day, just like how you said, I reflect on the good things. And I have a stack of manifestation cards, and my goal is to go through 10. I flip through 10 before bed. And I put myself in the mindset of today happened, and I'm looking at the positives of today. And that's how I'm winding down the day. Like you said, we're always worried about so-and-so got wet today and the parents weren't pleased with us as educators. Or my colleague and I had a conflict over something that really, if we had spent some more time communicating about, we could have dealt with it differently, right? All of those things are now a factor of, did I get enough sleep? Did I eat well today? Am I tired today? Did I check in on myself? Maybe, again, a lot of educators, we tend to not put ourselves first. And what I'm noticing is we're now putting off the things that are important, and that is the signs in our health.
Yeah.
We have a headache for 3 days. We keep popping Advil instead of booking a doctor's appointment, right? When we have that back pain that's bothering us, instead of us, we just keep taking more and more Advil and saying, I'll get to it.
Yeah.
Is the mental piece that we are now neglecting, that our body is telling us what's going on and we are neglecting it because, again, we're educators. We love what we do. We're there for the children, but we need to take care of you so you can be there for the children.
Yeah. So I made this pledge to stop eating animal crackers for lunch and stop packing my lunch, because one or two things would happen. I would not eat lunch and then go home, be starving, and just like whatever was in the fridge was like what I was going to eat. Or I was eating like animal crackers, like just rummaging through like what can I find in the daycare closet, right? Because I wake up early and then I'm just like running out the door, and or what staff member called out that was supposed to open and they they didn't open. So being more prepared, I think, also helps with some of that stress and anxiety that comes throughout the day, because some of it's self-inflicted.
And you're just hitting all my points. So it's all about being prepared with that nutrition, right?
Yeah.
We tend to not eat as well because we're always on the go, or we skip lunches and we skip meals. We've got to work at being prepared, having those vegetables cut up and ready to go, having things at hand. Even like, why animal crackers taste so good? Because I can pick them up and go.
That's true.
If your vegetables are ready to go, you tend to be like, okay, I'm just going to have that because it's ready to go. And hydration. We tend to be like, I don't know about you, but I'm a huge coffee lover. And yes, my partner is an athletic trainer. And yes, he's all about nutrition and gives me all these guidelines. Doesn't necessarily mean I follow them any more keenly, but he does make sure that for every 1 cup of coffee, it's 2 glasses of water.
Water.
Right? Water. Hydrate. Especially on days like today that's really, really, really hot. You're not going to notice you're dehydrated till 2 or 3 days later.
Yeah.
That's going to enter in the brain fog. That's going to enter digestive issues. That's going to enter sleep. And now we're here dealing with all of these other things when we should have just taken some time to prepare and think about how we're taking care of ourselves first.
Yeah. So not only when we make these positive changes that they affect us positively, they also can affect our team positively. So let's talk about why it's essential for childcare directors to prioritize self-care and resilience, and how being a great leader can really, or how we can bring that to our team.
So as directors, when we show our staff that we care about them taking care of themselves, they show up for us, right? And we also want to make sure that we're giving them that space without them feeling guilty. There's a lot of employees that say, I'm afraid to ask my director for time when I really just want a day. So they tend to make up excuses to have a day. Let's create environments where we're like, I need a day. I'm here of myself. I need a day, right? And I think a lot of directors right now are on the realm of, we want to retain this workforce. We have to really pay attention. Really, really want to keep these educators healthy and safe and with us.
And sane. Yeah,
and sane. We have to keep them with us. And when we show that resilience of, we understand that you need a day. We understand that we're here to support you. Even though it might be chaotic for us to figure out, feel supported in the moment. We really do.
Yeah. So 2 things. Making an environment where people feel comfortable to ask for a day is great. But if you want to be exceptional, don't wait for them to ask you. Ask them. Say, hey, you have worked a month consecutively. You haven't called off any days. Do you need a day? Yes. You've filled in for all these folks who are out, who was sick, whose kid was sick. Do you need a day? Would you like a half day? Right? I just had this conversation with one of my teachers. We had preschool graduation on Friday. And so I gave the staff the rest of the day off. Graduation was done at 11:30. But this staff member has 2 children on our program. I said, your kids can't tell time. I said, don't walk in the building. Go take the afternoon for yourself. Leave your kids here and come get them when you're ready to get them. Take this time for yourself. And she's like, really? I said, yes, really. Please. Bye. See you by 5:30. Right. So that's really, again, that's where being an excellent boss, a leader comes in, and it will make your folks really step up for you when you need it. Right. Because you're going to step up for them when they need it. And I think the other thing that we do when we're leading by example, sometimes we don't set the best example. And I'm putting myself under the bus here. I can't tell you how many times I've come in sick when I probably shouldn't have, or how many times I stayed later that I probably should have, or how many family dinners that I probably should have left on time and I didn't, right? So I'm going to throw myself under that bus too. I am 100% guilty of it. I don't pretend to have all the answers. I can tell you that I am aware of them, and that's part of the battle right there, is knowing that you didn't get to this chronic work every second of your life instantly. So it takes a little while to kind of deconstruct that too, right? And to say, you know what, today is the day I'm going to leave at 4 and I'm going to go home, and I'm going to be, my family gets so excited when I come home and they're like, oh, you're early. And I'm like, nope, just a regular 8-hour day like the rest of the world. But to them, it's like such a big deal. Like, Mom came home early, and my kids are big. They're not young. They're 25 and 22, and they still get really excited. Granted, I've been in the field for as long as they've been alive, so they're very used to Mom working open to close, but they get very, very happy when I come home early.
And I love that piece of you knowing and having that observation as a director of not waiting for them to ask for it, but offering it up. You are now eliminating them having to ask at the time that they feel, right? And again, I'm guilty. I will do the same thing. I work continuously, and my kids are like, oh, you're home today? And I'm like, yes. And I'm today, and I'm present today.
Yeah. Means a lot. Yeah, it means a lot.
And you don't think about it because we're with others' children, but sometimes our children take that hit too, where it's like, I just want you to play, or I just want you to on the couch, or can we have a conversation? And like you said, they're all going to grow up and leave us, and we're going to be like, were we there at that time?
So it's interesting you should say that. So my daughter had said to me before, she's like, Mom, I feel like you abandoned me when I was a kid. And I'm like, abandoned you? We're together 12 hours a day. How can you feel that? She goes, but Mom, that's how I really felt. Because even though we were together, we weren't really together. Yeah, we might have been in the same building, but you were always working. And then when we would come home, you would drop me off, and then you would go off to school to finish your degree. And I'm like, oh, here I am thinking I've been on every field trip and been with you at every single thing. And my kid felt abandoned. And so I think, making sure if you have young children to make sure you take the time outside of your center, because we, think we're well-meaning, and we get these jobs in these childcare centers, and our kids get to come with us. And, that works great for everybody, but they have to share you all day. And then they're there all day. And again, I'm speaking as a parent who has kids are grown, and they still talk about it. So be aware of that family time is important. My kids would probably be laughing right now if they heard me say that, but I get it, guys. I get it now. It took me 25 years. I finally get it, right? Yeah, I finally get it. I get it. So I think, it's important to lead our team to understand that we all need to take care of each other, and make sure that our space is one where we're all thriving, because we wouldn't, we're very set when a child is sick, they've got to go home, they've got to rest, but we don't do that with our staff. Like, oh, can you just take a Tylenol, suck it up and come to work? I will also say, because we are running into summer, in July and August tend to be times when families take vacation weeks. This is the perfect time to be able to offer up additional time, right? Additional time, paid or not paid, doesn't matter. Because I know that there are some folks, my niece is a perfect example. When you put together your benefit package, she said, I don't want more money. I want more time.
Yes.
I'd rather have more paid days off, right? And other people, I want $2 more an hour, right? So knowing where your team is, and for the folks who want more time, give them more time, right? If somebody says, I need more money, then you make it more money, right? But I think, that's a great way to help your team stay in a place that's healthy and happy.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah. So can you discuss some common challenges faced by early childhood professionals and offer some solutions that might mitigate some stress and burnout beyond the normal, like exercise, sleep, drink water?
Okay, so a lot of the challenges are, number one, we're putting on way too much on our plate. Delegation is key. Another challenge that we're having is sometimes the environments that we in are toxic. Educators need to keep looking for your environment. I know he's going to come at me and be like, no, it's so hard to find a job.
No, it's not.
Half of your wellness right there is your environment. We don't talk about it enough, but if you are in a negative space, is half of you not taking care of you. Okay? You can't build resilience in a negative environment, right? Also, I know a lot of things are said as in work-life balance. We need to change the vocabulary. When you think of balance, you think of what? A scale. You're always tipping on one side or the other. A scale never really has that balance. It's always tipping on the other. My new word is harmony.
Yeah.
We need to find harmony, okay? Within our professional and personal, we need to find harmony. If we keep thinking about balance, it's a negative connotation of they've got to have one side over the other side, and it's always a tug of war. Yeah, we need to change our language.
Yeah. And life, it ebbs and flows. And just like your personal life, and your business life, there are times, like I just pointed out, there are times in our seasons of work where it slows down a little. Take advantage of those times. Do that extra vacation. Take that time to maybe redo your floor plan. Like whatever you can do that makes you feel happy, but take that time, because there are certain times, like the beginning of school year, we know it's really busy. So you have to make sure that during the summer, you at some point have rejuvenated yourself enough to make it to the Christmas break, right? Enough to make it to the February break, right? So I think that that's important. And I love what you said about toxic environments. So there's two things. One, I always talk about leadership here. If there is a negative culture in your business, that's your fault. Because if you're not addressing that, nipping that in the bud, or kicking people out, really think about it. What's your vision? What's your mission of your program? Is it to have water cooler talk and people not getting along? Is it? Or is it to provide excellence in a place where everybody feels included or well? Right? What is your vision, your mission? So that's equally important as making sure that you have the right materials, the right certifications, right? Do you have the right people work ethic-wise and personality-wise? And I love to, when we talk about teachers like feeling passionate and excited, not every center is the right center for you, right? You got to find the right center where you fit in, feel good about the work you're doing, and a leader that you can get behind. Because again, if you're not fully entrenched in the vision or mission of that program, don't be there. Leave, right? And it could be a great school, but it might not be your school. And you're going to find your school. Yes.
You need to find what feeds your soul. Remember, This is vocational work. This is what we are called to do. So if we are in an environment that does not bring us joy, we need to keep going. We need to find it.
Yeah, because I think, too, if you're not happy and joyous, what does that do to the 12 or 15 little children you're in charge of with your partner? What does that do? Right? What is your body language? What is your tone? All those things are going to come off you. Well, you think you're hiding them, but your face tells us different, right? Your face lets us know, right? Your face, the volume in your voice, we know it's instant. It's instant when you walk in the center. So, make sure that you're in the right place. So with that being said, how can childcare centers foster a culture of support and resiliency among staff members?
Being observant, knowing what's happening in your center. Do not walk around with blinders on, okay? There are a lot of directors and leaders that are like, the classroom is running and it's good enough.
Yep, everybody showed up today. It's a good day. Everybody's here.
It's here.
Yeah.
But there's what's going on there.
Yeah.
Are they working together? Is it cohesive? What is the communication like? Are the children receptive to what's happening in that program, right?
Yeah.
So being observant. It's okay to have people show up for their shifts. It really is.
Mm-hmm.
You have a mission. And is your mission being fulfilled every day, or are we just checking boxes?
Yeah. So that makes me think, I want to just drive this point home. So unless you're a Superman or Superwoman and you can see through walls, that might require you to get out of your office.
Stay with us. We'll be right back.
I'm Dan Heath. On the What It's Like to Be podcast, I ask folks about their jobs, like what keeps a TV meteorologist up at night.
When I'm at work and there's a tornado coming into town, my husband and my kids have to get into the tornado shelter without me.
What keeps a welder driven?
I never am satisfied. I always know I can do better.
And what keeps a hairstylist on her toes?
I know she likes that Holly Berry haircut, but she doesn't look like Holly Berry.
Find out on What It's Like to Be, wherever you get your podcasts.
You might need to come out of the office, right? Paperwork is last.
On the floor.
People are first.
Yep.
So people are number one. Paperwork is number two, right? Procrastination is number three. But yeah, that can be at the end. But no, you really do have to be observant and you have to be part of that. And I think too, when you're role modeling, how we treat each other in the center, that also radiates, right? If you're the leader who goes in your office, shuts the door, but, don't bother me, I've got 55,000 pieces of compliance paper to do, which we get. I mean, I get it. You got to stay in compliance. But all the things happening on your floor, 95% of the compliance is going to be on your floor, right? It's going to be on your floor. So yes, some of it might be, did you not fill out this document or that document? But mostly it's going to be about what's going on in the rooms with the people who are supervising each other. So yeah, you see.
Have an open door policy. Your door you mentioned it, your door shouldn't be closed. And your professionals, they should be able to walk past, and yes, you might be busy or on a call, but you might be able to say 1 second and then come in, or whatever the case is. But if they know that that door is open, or they know that they can come to you and talk to you whenever they can, that is the part of leadership that sometimes is missing. Like you said, some of them go in and shut the door, and then the staff don't see them until the end of the day.
Yeah. And I think it goes back to when you said be prepared, right? We were talking about lunches, but being prepared and maybe even just, you're setting up a system where you tell folks, okay, here's the rule. So at our school, we have like a red light, green light, yellow light. If it is a red light, meaning a child got hurt, a staff member got hurt, yeah, the building's on fire, that's a 911, like bust through the door if you need to, right? And then there's other things like, hey, for the next 2 hours, I'm going to work on XYZ. Is there anything you need from me before I go in? And I'm going to touch base with you at 12 o'clock, right? So letting them know too, like giving that, because going back to like that boundaries, being prepared, giving those boundaries. It isn't like open door and just, because, there are some time suckers who will come in on their lunch break. You're not on break, on their lunch break. And they're like talking to you about, their German Shepherd went in to get vaccinated. Like, so, set those boundaries. You're laughing because it's true, right? So setting those boundaries, like I want to hear from you. Here's a great time that I've set aside to meet with all of you. I'm going to check in with you. That's the first thing you do, right? You come in, you check your phone, you check the emails, you check your staff, you check the kids, you get all the info that you need to know. And then you can, kind of, okay, here's this time I'm going to set apart to do XYZ. I'm going to come out again, be on the floor, So just like communication. I guess that's the word. Being prepared and communication will really go a long way for your stress and theirs, because it is stressful. I mean, I've also been on the end of that, of getting things ready for like our QRS, and there's timelines, and you've got, like this with the paperwork, especially if like that's not your thing. Like if I only had to do taking care of people in my business, I would that would be like a dream. That would be a dream, right? That would be like my ideal thing. Right. But unfortunately, there are other aspects of being a childcare owner. So I would say is, when I'm thinking about my own balance and my own sanity, I try to do the things in an order that makes sense for me. And it may not make sense for everybody, but I try to be communicative about like, this is what I need from you. Tell me how I can help you. You tell me what you need from me. And it seemed to work pretty good for the last 20 some odd years. So that's the best advice I have around that. So what other things do you think that folks should know about being resilient?
Giving yourself grace to get there. Resiliency isn't something you get from 0 to 10. You have to build resilience, right? And that means embracing some of those challenges sometimes, and knowing that not everything's going to go well the first time. Sometimes building resilience is having 3 or 4 jobs that year because you're looking for your space and you're looking for your people. Knowing that building resilience of, I tried to meditate and journal for the last month and I just can't get into it. But really present when you tried, right? Were you really present when you tried? I tried to exercise every day and I just did it in my schedule. And did you try to time block first? Did you block time out to be present and not be distracted with the 500 other thoughts, right? So being resilient means a lot of reflective practice, a lot of going back and reflecting on what you've done and how you're doing things.
Yeah.
And always moving forward, even if it's a tiny step.
Yeah. And for those of you who are listening who don't know what we talk about time blocking. So if you look through our library of, I don't know, I think we're at like 175 episodes. I mean, who's counting? But if you look, there is a pretty good amount of episodes on time blocking, time management, systems to help you get things done in a way that allows you, frees you up more time so your kids don't feel abandoned. All of those things. So we do have some things in the library as well. Tell us, do you talk a little bit about this topic on your podcast as well?
I absolutely talk about building resilience. Educator wellness right now is my focus, all about motivating and inspiring educators to stay in the field that they're in. Also to motivate and inspire directors to keep in contact with their staff and not treat their staff as numbers. They can be easily replaced, but seeing them as, again, people first. That is my motto. Just like we would say, child first, it's people first.
Yes.
We're meeting the needs of our educators. And sometimes we're missing the gap and there's a mass exodus of the field and we need to push a pin in it right now.
Yep. Please stay. Please stay. Please stay. Don't close your doors. Don't quit your job. Don't go drive a FedEx truck.
Exactly.
Please stay.
Please stay.
Yeah, please stay.
Need you. Not more than that, the community needs you.
Absolutely.
Community, you are a community member that it cannot do without you. And I think a lot of educators, directors, childcare providers do not realize how much of the community is involved on you. Others need to work without you. So we need to make sure that they're taken care of and they're respected and they're heard and they're motivated and inspired to continue to do the work that they do.
Yeah. And you know what? Now, it even goes and I agree with all of the things you just said. I think it even goes further reaching. Not only does it allow people to work, we're building the next community. We're building your next neighbor, your next CNA, your next, entrepreneur. Those folks are right here, right now. They're in our community. They're just a little shorter, not shorter than me, because I'm pretty short, but they're just tiny. But our next community is already here. They're in your 4 walls, and you are raising or helping raise our citizens. So it's even bigger. It's even a broader picture than folks being able to work, which of course is important for the economy and important for families to be able to provide for their children. But I mean, these young people are pretty amazing that we get the pleasure to work with every day. And I love watching them grow. I've had the pleasure, because I'm a little bit on the older end, I've had the pleasure to work in the industry for a very long time. It really is a blessing to be able to do it. And again, like I said to my husband, I'm grateful to still have a center to open every day, because I recognize that others may not. So it is, we have to wrap up. I really could just talk to you all day. I know, I feel like we just got started. So we definitely I would love to, have you back on the show. And I'm going to certainly pop on over to your podcast very, very soon. So folks that would love to check out our friend's podcast, we're going to leave the link below so they can find you. You're on Instagram?
Yes.
Tell them all the places they can find you.
I'm on Instagram at Ispire to Educate. I'm also on LinkedIn at the same. And I'm also on YouTube at Ispire to Educate. And of course, I will send you all my links and all of those lovely things, but stay connected for sure.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And again, as I say at the end of every episode, It's the small details that make a big impact in the success of your childcare business. And it's these things that we're talking about today, taking care of your people. It's that, making sure that your staff are okay, making sure that you are okay, right? Because we can't do the work without you, and you can't do the work without your team. So that's it for today. Thank you, as always, for tuning in. Have a great day. Bye.
Well, all the cute little kiddos have been picked up and it's time to go home. And that'll do it for another episode of the Childcare Director's Chair. Please leave a review so Erica knows the information is helping you to manage and improve your childcare centers. Remember to subscribe to get the latest episode from Erica's Childcare Director's Chair.